This is your sign to keep going. Are you facing criticism? Keep going. Are you facing silence? Keep going. Are you facing a grind? Maybe keep going on to something else. Hi, I'm Tanya, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Threshold, where this week I invite you to keep going, but only on your own terms. I would like for all of us to keep going, but only towards what makes us truly feel alive. And that looks like perseverance, not stubbornness. Sometimes we are forcing it, like that aforementioned grind. If it drains you more than it energizes you, you could be forcing it. If you are motivated by fear or obligation or ego, that's forcing it. If you keep hitting a wall with absolutely no progress, not even minuscule progress, you could be forcing it. If you're ignoring your inner voice, you are definitely forcing it. If you are waiting for some sort of external validation, you're probably forcing it. You can ask yourself, if I had permission to walk away, would I feel relief? And the answer can guide you. Conversely, you could ask, or in addition to, you could ask, if I had permission to do this every day until the end, until I saw it through to the end, would I keep doing it? You have your answer. And the spoiler here is the only one that can give you permission is you. So you can do this. My next piece of advice would be to ignore the noise, even from your past self. Advice from others isn't always useful, especially if you wouldn't trade lives with them. If you wouldn't trade lives with them, you shouldn't take advice from them. And that includes past versions of yourself. All of your past goals were made by your past self. So if they're no longer lighting you up, you don't have to keep doing them. If they still are, then by all means, this is where the keep going comes in, no matter how long it's taking. But you should feel excited, not trapped. If you feel trapped, I invite you to let it go. You can ask yourself, would I choose to do this again? If you're still excited, by all means, there's your answer. If you're feeling like you're enduring this or it's an obligation, there's an answer as well. Moving on to the idea or the topic of feedback. Sometimes we get negative feedback and sometimes we get no feedback at all. Obviously, if we're getting positive feedback, then that is helpful in getting us to keep going. But the negative or no feedback can sometimes be often is a detriment to us. Both of them can mess us up, but neither should stop us. People don't all have all the facts. You are the only one that has all the facts. Maybe you're not crazy. In fact, you probably aren't. You're just first. And if you're first, then people either don't know what to say to you or maybe are confused or fearful on your behalf. Sometimes this negative feedback is because you're right near a breakthrough. It feels like negative feedback, but perhaps it's the last of your fears bubbling out of you, or the last of your frustrations bubbling out of you. Or it feels like negative feedback because you're at the top, or you're almost at the top and it feels the steepest and you're tired. So again, you need to check in with yourself. There's power in creating things just because you love it, regardless of whether you get negative feedback or no feedback at all. You can ask yourself, would I keep going if I had never heard this? If I had never heard this feedback, would you keep going? There's your answer. And I'd like to reiterate again, this is not a call to grind. There's a difference between dedication to something and self-sacrifice. So with the idea of keep going towards what makes you feel alive, I understand that maybe that won't every day. You might not feel alive by doing that. But there is a difference between being dedicated towards something and self-sacrificing towards something. So the energy portion of this, if it's dedication, the energy is that you love doing it. If it's self-sacrifice, the energy is obligation. The impact, if this is dedication, the impact will be growth. If it's self-sacrifice, the impact will be depletion. The benefit here, if it's dedication, both you and others will benefit. If it is self-sacrifice, everybody except you will benefit. It's the difference between this is hard, but I want to do it, and I want to do it. That's dedication. This is hard and I wish I could stop. That's self-sacrifice. And quitting what doesn't serve you is just as important as persisting in what does. You can ask yourself, if I walked away, would there be relief or regret? That space you can get from quitting something that is no longer serving makes space for new opportunities, new doors that you might not see because you haven't looked up from the grind. And it gives you space to evolve into the person that you are now or that you would like to be. So to conclude, I would love it if you would keep going, but only if it feels true to you. The world needs more people doing what they love, not more people grinding away at things that they hate. The inspiration for this episode was an e-card that I got from a good friend of mine telling me to keep going. And I got it right when I really needed it. So hopefully this will get out to people who really needed to hear it. And I would love it if you could pay it forward by supporting people in your life that you think maybe need a little message about the idea that they should keep going, or they could keep going if it is lighting them up. And I'll see you next week beyond the threshold.